Hello and welcome to Business Today. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and we are here at the World Government Summit in Dubai. And joining me now a very special guest, Fleur Pellerin, the former Minister of Culture in France and now the founder of a VC fund, Korelya Capital. Fleur, welcome to this conversation. This is a lovely backdrop and I want to use this opportunity to first ask you about your life as a VC fund and what are the latest opportunities in the investment space that you're looking at?
So this past 5 years have been a bit hectic because, we had to go through COVID, which was a moment where we thought investment is going to freeze. Everybody was afraid and the interest rates went up. So it was very complicated to fundraise. And now we have this craze about Gen AI, of course, it's in everybody's mouth, which for us VC funds is a quite complicated animal to deal with because you see, just newborn companies that are raising hundreds of millions of dollars of funds at valuations that are in billions, and it's not what we're used to. So we see it as a very interesting opportunity because, of course, it's something that will totally transform our industries, our way to learn, our way to consume. But for us investors, it's a big challenge to adjust to this new norm.
I've rarely spoken to a minister who is also in a world of finance, but I want to ask you, since you spoke about AI, it's going through a hype cycle. Most new sectors go through that. We've seen that many times over the past 3 decades. Where is the AI world in terms of the hype cycle? Are we now past the peak?
Some people start to write articles. I
Yes.
read probably the same articles as you in the press saying that it's just a bubble and it's made by Nvidia, who is investing billions of dollars into companies that buy the GPUs from them. So it's sort of circular
Economy.
economy that is not very sound, and the bubble is going to explode at some point. But still, I think we are still at a moment where all the use cases of this Gen AI are not fully deployed. So when you think of health, for example, when you think of medicine, drug discovery, gene therapy, I think there's a lot of progress to be made in these areas, probably in defense, probably in a lot of areas in banking. And I mean, we're just at the beginning, I think, and we've not seen all the use cases yet. So it's probably a bubble when you look at the valuations and the investments. It's just crazy. But the use cases are still to be discovered. It's not like the metaverse, which was a sort of hype during COVID because
absolutely.
people could not go out. In this case, it's something more substantial and more structural, I think.
And you make that good reference to COVID because we saw certain stocks go up to the stratosphere and look where they are now. But you spoke about this point and I want to ask you, in terms of productivity, and I wonder if you have made any investments around AI and that data, what is the level of productivity enhancement that a business has gotten on account of deploying AI through their entire business?
Again, I think we're just at the beginning. So you're starting now to have corporates, deploying agents to help and support the human decision. So I think, productivity gains are starting to be there. When you look at, banking, like, credit rating, for example, probably, Gen AI will be very useful to support the work of people who are doing that. But it's when you speak, to banks, to big corporates, they say it's the beginning.
Yeah.
I've invested actually recently in a voice AI company. So in this sector, I think voice agents will be deployed massively. When you take an appointment at the hairdresser or at the gym or you book a restaurant, for example, it's still someone human who makes the reservations, but it's something that can be automatized very easily. So in these kind of areas where the value added is quite low, I think probably we'll have more, bots or machine coming in, and productivity will probably increase.
Very interesting perspective because in the Indian context, a lot of people tell me, experts like you, that voice AI will have a great role to play because it's also linked to the levels of literacy. You can speak even if you may not be able to write in a particular language, so voice AI. But on that note, do you have any exposure in India and how do you see the Indian market? We've just come out of a very good period of trade deals. We've done a deal with the European Union and America has followed. So It's changed in a matter of days, but what's your reading of the Indian market and the opportunity?
So for me, as Korelya Capital, we don't have exposure to India yet. Maybe, there will be a time in the future where we will.
Maybe you are late.
Maybe I'm too late. But actually, I have a very strong anchor investor in South Korea. The name is Naver. It's big, like the Google of Korea.
Oh, really?
And this company is very actively looking right now at the Indian market. They just created a vehicle to invest in India with Krafton, which is a big gaming company.
Absolutely.
And Mirai Asset, which is an asset manager, a Korean asset manager. So the three of them make a sort of joint venture to very actively look at the Indian market. So we can see right now that, there are a lot of probably foreign investors looking at the market. Of course, it's a huge market, very interesting, where you have a lot of talent. So, through my partner, I might be, in the near future exposed to the Indian market as well.
Absolutely, and there are dozens of companies that are doing that, and I wish you well for that. As we wrap this conversation, I also want you to go back to an earlier point. So we spoke about a bubble in valuations for within the AI sector. But there are many sectors that perhaps are in some ways a little immune to the AI cycle. Beyond technology, what are the sectors that interest you as potential investment opportunities?
So actually right now I'm an investor, I'm mainly an investor in tech, but I started to fundraise and I'm doing a closing very, very soon to invest in consumer lifestyle brands.
Yeah.
And so I think,
So even if you have AI, people will still buy, they'll still consume.
Exactly. So actually, when you look at the investment opportunities right now, you think, okay, what are the sectors or what are the businesses that will not be disrupted by AI?
Yes.
And I was just, talking about tourism earlier in a session. The kind of experience, like, visiting a country, meeting with people. This is something that AI cannot really disrupt. I mean, AI can disrupt the way you book your ticket or the way you book your hotel. But the experience, the real encounter with country, with food, with, there are some areas where the human touch and the human contact is the most important thing that will not be disrupted by AI. And I think, when you have an investor approach right now, and you know that AI is going to be so disruptive, it's interesting to try to find, business models that are not, disrupted by AI. So I think consumer lifestyle brands is one brick and mortar kind of investment strategy that can be immune from too much AI damage.
Absolutely. As we end this conversation, it's very clear. There is a twin track approach that I'm picking up from her words. One, you invest in AI, and you also invest in sectors, look at opportunities which are immune to AI. And just as she said, you can't replace this conversation, the value of the time that we have spent. Fleur, thank you very much for your time. With that, it's a wrap on this conversation. We'll see you again. Until then, goodbye.